It's the list and your boy at Fightful.com. With Jimmy Van and Sean Ross Sapp. They're on fire. Boom shakalaka.
200 strong.
What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp. It is September 1st. My God, it's September 1st.
I know.
Jeez, Fightful.com. Listen, your boy, number 227. Leave a thumbs up. Subscribe. Get in those super chats. It's the $sign at the bottom of the youtube.com/Fightful screen. It will get your question or statement read on the air. Oh, man, Jimmy.
I told Sean I went yesterday to it. There's a place in Toronto called Center Island.
Ooh.
You literally have to take a boat, Sean, from the lakefront of Toronto to get to this place. And it was nothing but little kid rides.
Oh, man.
So that was my day. I had to go on like Ferris wheels and carousels. Imagine me, Sean, Ferris wheels and carousels. But you do for your kids. So
what else did you do yesterday? Anything?
No, that was it.
That was it.
Did absolutely nothing else.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds
Why?
like
What did you do, Sean?
Nothing.
Nothing?
At all.
Good.
Nothing.
Good. Well, you know what today is, since it's September 1st? Today would be the launch of the latest issue of Fightful magazine.
Ooh.
The September-October issue. And look at that beautiful cover. CM Punk graces the cover of the magazine.
Wow.
That is a phenomenal shot taken by Scott Lesh. So CM,
some great shots. Sorry to interrupt you. I'm told to be more enthusiastic about the magazine. So
be more enthusiastic about the magazine.
Scott took some really rad pictures. Like, I saw those and I was like, man.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Oh my gosh, they look incredible. They look so good.
Yeah, very professional. So we got CM Punk on the cover, an excellent cover story by Jack Goodwillie. That's a great read. The Wrestlers Tribune, this issue is from a long time or an old friend of mine, Cody Deaner of Impact Wrestling. He wrote the Wrestlers Tribune.
I think a lot of people don't realize how long Cody Deaner, put myself on screen again, has been in wrestling and all the stuff he's done. He's been around for 2 decades, Jimmy.
So when he was a rookie, and this is going back 2001 or so, somewhere in there, I booked him along with a rookie manager by the name of Angel Williams. And Angel Williams is now Angelina Love. So yeah, they go way back. I've known them for a very long time. So Cody wrote the Wrestlers Tribune. And just so you know, we don't use ghostwriters for that. So Aaron Stevens, Cody Deaner, anybody that writes the Wrestlers Tribune, that's them writing it. We don't use ghostwriters. So we have the Wrestlers Tribune. There's a great story about the return of John Cena to WWE. There's a great story about RIP Thunderdome. There's a great story about Thunder Rosa in there as well. Lots of great stuff in this issue, the September-October issue. And I would like to note that this issue was sponsored by Magic Spoon and BlueChew. I'm not going to do a Sean Ross Sapp segue, but this issue was sponsored by Magic Spoon and BlueChew. So thank you to them for their sponsorship. You can get issue 5 now in digital immediately, or you can order it in print through FightfulMag.com. And turned out great. The issue looks great. Cover looks great.
This show is sponsored by BlueChew as well. We'll get into that later, though. But, of course, FightfulMag.com. Well worth checking out, guys. Can't wait to get my issue. You can also order like our entire back catalog that we have as well. And there's a lot of stuff in there. It doesn't necessarily age. Like, so if you buy issue 2 physical, it's going to be just as good now as it was when it came out. Some good stuff. I mean, obviously CM Punk coming back is something we had to tackle. That was something that has to be covered.
Yes. Yeah. And I was so happy that, so Scott Lesh is somebody we worked with for a while as a photographer, and I didn't know that he was at Rampage. And so when we were going to do the Punk feature, I was like, okay, we got to try to find a good cover shot of Punk. And I think it was Shandy on my team, I believe, or maybe Melissa on my team, that found Scott's portfolio. And yeah, like you said, he did a phenomenal job. So we got some great shots in this issue.
Yeah, it's really good. I was blown away by those shots. It was really great.
Well, let's talk about your weekend coming up. Sean Ross Sapp, the traveling man, is off to Chicago on Friday, and we'll talk about All Out in a minute. What do you got lined up for Chicago? Did you try the deep dish yet?
I tried that last time.
Oh,
I'm
you
done
did?
with it. I'm done with it. I
Yeah,
don't need
you
it.
didn't like it?
Yeah, I'm done with it.
Can I ask where you went to have that in Chicago? Do you remember?
I can't remember. I went with like Glenn Rubenstein, who does some great ad work and works for Wrestling Inc. He took us there. BlueChew actually footed the bill for my birthday dinner a couple of years ago, but I can't remember where. I have to look.
So I've been to Chicago once, and I recall going to a place called Gino's, and I thought the deep dish was excellent. I liked it. Thought it was really good.
Yeah.
So they also do popcorn, like street vendors have popcorn. Did you try that?
I didn't at all. No,
Yeah,
I didn't.
I had it a couple of times, and it was very unique. It was very different.
We've got some super chats already. We have Fluffy Panda saying, still weird hearing a wrestler having my family name Diener. Sean Blanford says, afternoon, gents. I'll be in Toronto next week to cover the film festival. Any restaurant recommendations? Looking for someplace fun to go that doesn't involve pizza, or Timbits.
You're asking the right guy. So depending on what you like, I'll tell you my favorite places. One is called Michael's on Simcoe. I think it's one of the best steakhouses in the world, the best in Toronto. And they make depending on your budget, they make a phenomenal Wagyu. So Michael's on Simcoe. There's a great French place called Scaramouche, Midtown Toronto. Awesome. I've been there 1,000 times. Their specialty, if you're into dessert, they make a coconut cream pie in-house that is out of this world. So Scaramouche is a great place. If you want a really cool experience, there's a steakhouse called Blue Blood in Casa Loma. Casa Loma, Sean, is a castle located in the middle of Toronto.
Wow.
Like an actual full-on castle. And they have a restaurant in there called Blue Blood. They just opened up a new place, an American-style place in there as well. I forget the name of it. Those are 3 great options if you're not looking for, like you said, pizza or Timbits. So check any of those out.
I got some people offering to send me some free pizza, so I'm probably going to eat some pizza. At that stage, Jimmy. Life is good.
Life is good. I know it is, Sean. I know it is. Well, let's talk about All Out. It's coming up this Sunday, September 5th. And when I look at this card almost from top to bottom, this card is indicative of how AEW has done a really good job of utilizing the established stars and mixing them with their homegrown talent. And I always include guys like Kenny Omega as a homegrown star, because even though he was an established talent, he wasn't in America. And so I look at him as kind of a homegrown guy. You look at this card, like Kenny Omega, Christian, CM Punk, Darby Allin, Miro, Eddie Kingston, Chris Jericho, MJF, Paul White, QT Marshall. I feel like there's going to be a swerve, and I feel like QT Marshall's not going to be the opponent. That's kind of my gut. But I don't know anything. This is just kind of my gut feel. But when you look at those matches, it's so clear how AEW has been able to leverage their talent, quote unquote, with the established star talent. And then in addition to that, Britt Baker, Chris Statlander, the Bucks, Lucha Brothers, Pac, Andrade, Moxley, Kojima. That's a hell of a card on paper, Sean.
It is. I do wish it was somebody besides Kojima, but I'm sure the match will be good.
Yes.
I want the Tall Paul chance so bad.
Saw that.
Acknowledge them. I want them so bad.
Yep.
Almost as bad as I want a haircut. Look how bad this is. But the card's okay. The Baker Statlander match I'm very excited for. We got people saying Ernie Vasquez, AC debuts Sunday, and BD at Ash, possible swerve. I don't know. I don't know. I'm working to find out more about the Cole thing. I'll have some more on Adam Cole contract negotiations or how they were going before. I got an interesting note there. You say Chris Marcella says, I see Kaz now and then on AEW's The Elite Hunter, but any news on Christopher Daniels? He's working on heels. His eye has been healing up. And I mean, that was kind of his swan song for the time being. But we've got CM saying, do you think they'll tease Bryan Danielson more tonight or just leave everyone anticipating? I don't think you need to tease him anymore after what CM Punk said, Jimmy.
I agree. And that was organic.
Yeah.
Like he didn't know the crowd was going to start doing that. So that was an organic reaction. Well, this kind of leads me to another question. So I was going to ask you, what do you think the odds are that certain free agents are going to appear in some capacity at All Out? And some of the names I was going to throw at you to kind of give me the odds without you revealing anything that you might not necessarily want to reveal. So what do you think the odds are about, say, Adam Cole, Braun Strowman, Buddy Murphy, Ruby Riott, Bryan Danielson, and even Lana, CJ Perry? What do you think the odds are that one of them, because they are now all free and clear. So what do you think the odds are that one of them appears at All Out on Sunday?
I think Ruby probably will. I think she'll be the Joker. I think Buddy Matthews is the kind of guy you debut on a Rampage. Like, you don't tell anybody who Omega's facing, and it's Buddy Matthews, and they have a killer match.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, and I think you should spread them out. I think there should be like one on each show. That way people are like, oh my God, I got to watch everything. I have to watch everything. So, yeah, I think there's a possibility of that happening. I don't know where the Adam Cole talks are yet. I mean, we got Trey Sherman asking if there's any update on potential offers, but man, I just don't think they'll load them all up on one show, but maybe I'm wrong.
What are your thoughts on WWE releasing an internal memo about him when they haven't done that about other guys in the past? What's your thoughts on why they chose to do that with him?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't remember that happening in the past. I mean, well, okay. So there's an internal memo that has been going out about releases. So maybe it is more normal. It definitely happened the last NXT round. So maybe it's more common. But they did send out, Johnny Ace sent out ones about the NXT releases. So there you go.
And now when it comes to Kojima and Moxley, so I know that Hiroshi Tanahashi, that's been the name everybody was thinking about because they teased it. But I believe that the day before September 4th, he's committed to Wrestle Grand Slam in Japan. And so they don't think that the timing is going to work for him to get to the U.S. Do you think that's why maybe they almost kind of didn't have their ducks in a row? They teased Tanahashi, but then All Out's coming up. He's already booked for September 4th. They had to kind of pivot. Do you think that's kind of what happened? And Kojima might have been not the long-term plan. It was more of a, oh shit, we got to plug somebody in with Moxley and Tanahashi's busy.
It seemed like they were hinting heavily at Tanahashi, right? Like, I mean, that seemed like how it was. But, I mean, also, I know Japan has been way more, everybody's been way more careful than America. What the hell am I talking about? Everybody's been way more careful.
That's true.
People are practically spitting in each other's mouths over here. Hey, sup?
More so than usual. Yeah.
So, damn. It's just, I think that they probably wanted somebody besides Kojima. I can't imagine that being the plan because otherwise there are people on your roster you could have used.
And the other name that came up a lot was Will Ospreay, but now apparently he's revealed that he tested positive for COVID.
Yep.
So he can't appear either.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think he was really going to be an option, but I thought it was going to be Tanahashi. I really did.
Right. Okay. I want to ask you something regarding Tony Khan. So we've talked before about how the AEW roster is pretty bloated. It's pretty heavy. They got a lot of people on staff there now on payroll. Tony Khan was asked by the Wrestling Observer about roster additions, and this is a quote I want your thoughts on. He said, quote, "I'm definitely going to make multiple additions over the next 4 to 6 months." Now, I presume that some of the people that we just mentioned are going to be some of the people that end up there, whether it be Ruby Riott, whether it be Bryan Danielson, whether it be Adam Cole, whoever. They've already got such a heavy roster as it is, and that's even though they're doing dark tapings and Rampage. They got a big roster. Do you think that Tony Khan might be intending to do time off cycles? Because you know how, as it is, they don't have everybody on Dynamite every week because they can't, even if they wanted to. Do you think that he might be looking to implement time off cycles, maybe a month, 2 months at a time, so that he can get everybody involved?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll be standard. I think it'll just happen as it's happening. Somebody's like, hey, I need a couple months over, and they'll be like, okay, cool. Because, I mean, that happens. I mean, Jon Moxley took paternity leave, and like it's how it should be. They shouldn't be wrestling every month out of the year for 12 months. That's not safe. It's not normal. I mean, it's more normal without all the live events and all that, but
yes.
Matt J. Hendricks says, why a 72-hour replay window for All Out? I don't have the answer to that. There's a lot of questions there. Andrew says, is Aldis now more likely? I could see a TNT title feud. Not based on the one phone conversation I had with the guy. It didn't seem like he was that interested in AEW back then. Bill Hemmett says, what's Jimmy's thoughts on the Woodley versus Paul fight?
This is actually on my list today.
Is it?
So, yes. So, Tyron Woodley is so frustrating. He's so frustrating.
Yeah, he is.
And if anybody is an MMA fan, a UFC fan, the Wonder Boy fight, Sean?
Yeah.
he is such
The second one, right? I believe you mean the second
the
one.
one that was a draw.
Oh, yeah.
He is such a frustrating fighter because Tyron Woodley has it in him to be a very exciting, dynamic, and not get anybody's in there with fighter, but he's so hesitant. He's so reluctant all the time. And I don't know why, but he just is. The only thing I could think of is, you remember in Strikeforce, I believe it was, where Nate Marquardt knocked him out?
Yep.
And we've seen with other fighters, GSP and other guys, after they get knocked out, they're reluctant after that. The thing that makes me feel different about Tyron Woodley is that after the Marquardt fight, he goes to the UFC. He was knocking guys out.
He was dropping people.
So what happened? So I'm watching the Jake Paul fight, and you know what? With all due respect to Jake Paul, I mean, he drew a house in Cleveland. This is a guy that's not even really a real boxer. He drew a house in Cleveland.
He's been training for 3.5 years.
I understand,
yeah.
and
I get the talent level and all that stuff and what he's doing, but he has been training full time for 3.5 years, and he has had legit training partners.
And I've heard all that, and that's fine. But I look at him like a guy. I feel like if Jake Paul gets in there with a guy who's really going to be on him and throw shots, he's going to drop. I just don't. He doesn't come off to me. He hasn't proven to me yet that he's got that granite chin. And when I saw Tyron Woodley in there, I thought if he gets one opportunity, the 4th round, Sean, I thought it's done because he got one opportunity. But what did he do? He threw one good shot, and then he went back to being reluctant again. I was standing up off my couch, standing on the floor. I thought it was going to be it. And there's Tyron sitting back again. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, he's so frustrating as a fighter, and Jake Paul deserved to win that decision because Tyron Woodley wouldn't do anything. According to, I've got it written down here because I was going to talk about this later on. According to the Mirror in the UK, I believe it was an average of 7 punches per round that Tyron Woodley landed. He landed an average of 7 punches per round. He would not throw. He was not active. I understand for the first couple of rounds, it's a new arena for him. So I can understand maybe he was just kind of trying to get used to it. It's a smaller ring too.
Yeah.
So he's probably trying to get used to all of that and trying to get the time down and everything. No excuse after 2 or 3 rounds for him to not be thrown because Jake Paul's a beatable fighter, in my opinion.
Yes, he was. I mean, he almost did beat him. He almost did beat Jake Paul.
Yes.
We have a bunch of super chats. Matt says, is Xia Li removed from TN Shop? For the moment being, yes. Louise Treese says, will vax mandate affect Arthur Ashe? Yeah, you got to have a vaccine.
Apparently they've already said so, yep.
Yeah. Dr. Six Singer's ex-squire says, more additions in 4 to 6 months. Didn't somebody 2 months ago said the next 6 months would be... Wish I could remember. I told people. I posted a damn tweet and everybody's like, he knew what he's talking about. Yeah, I didn't know what I was talking about. Hot diggity damn. What happened after that? Some stuff apparently, Jimmy, like CM Punk popping up and Adam Cole's contract being up and Pete Dunne's contract being up and some wait, I'm not allowed to say that yet.
I actually forgot all about Pete Dunne.
Yeah, I forgot about Pete Dunne. Peter Dunne. Throwback says, I'm excited to watch AEW. Haven't seen much of their stuff. I'm curious to see what they do next. With all these additional talent, do you see AJ Lee possibly considering coming back? I think it's likelier now than it's ever been before. Jimmy, I think based on what we've seen about her liking Britt Baker's work and CM Punk referencing her, I think it would take one Britt Baker line of her saying, it's a good thing one of you decided to come back to work. I think it'd take like one of those lines to maybe get her going. But I don't know her personally. So
I saw an interview with Punk where he made reference to her neck. And the thing is,
interesting.
And the thing is, Punk's a troll. So I don't know what to believe with Punk.
Yep.
But he made reference to her neck. And so I don't know her physical condition for a return. But we talked about it before. AJ Lee, or I guess we can't call her AJ Lee anymore. Very underrated. Very underrated. I think one year she won Superstar of the Year or something in WWE, and she deserved it because she carried the women's division that year. Very underrated, great promo, good in the ring, has a good aesthetic, great talent. And so she'd be a good pickup for AEW. But yeah, if you look up the Punk interview, he did make reference to her neck. So I don't know.
Yep. Yeah, I completely agree. Let's get through some of these super chats. Frank says, Woodley was great matchmaking. He's a name that probably never posed any danger to Paul. They knew hesitant Woodley was who they were actually getting. I think he posed a little bit of a threat, the biggest threat that they've had so far.
Yeah, and the thing too is watching that fight. So Paul, the first few rounds, landed some shots.
Yeah.
And the problem is, how many ounces are boxing gloves, Sean?
I don't know how much they were that
Maybe
night.
12.
I mean, it varies. It varies depending on what.
So
you agree on.
given what Tyron Woodley's used to in the UFC, and now in boxing they're wearing these big gloves, he took some shots from Paul, and it was nothing. Like he just kind of shook his head like it was nothing. I almost felt like after he took a few shots with those big boxing gloves on, that would make him even less nervous about, I can go in and kill this guy because his punches, they're not heavy enough with those big gloves.
Sure.
But he just wouldn't. He wouldn't. And it was so frustrating to watch. Did you see Chappelle?
I did see Chappelle.
Chappelle was yelling at him about come on, man. He's like, do it for your culture. Do it for your people. Because Woodley wouldn't throw nothing.
I know.
So it's very frustrating.
Okay, let's get through some of these super chats now.
Okay.
Matt Hendricks says Punk did the same thing in 2018 about her neck and said no chance. That's fine. You know what I've heard that about? I've heard that about Christian and concussions. I've heard that about Edge and his neck. I've heard that about Paige and her neck, which we'll talk about later. I heard Punk was never going to come back to pro wrestling too. Heard a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Cass says Io and Zoe are defending the titles next week for the first time in 2 months. What? And first match as a team, bad booking. And DJ Cass says, how bad is it that Zoe and Io won the titles July 6th? And they're just now defending it September 7th. Jimmy, we had said that at the time. They did not need these titles. They could have just switched the women's tag titles over to NXT. Yep. It would have made a lot more sense. But no, they screwed it up. They overbooked it.
All right. Were any of those girls injured for any period of time at all?
No, I don't think so. I was told that Io was fine. But I mean, maybe during that period.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, so tell me this. Why did they create those tag team titles?
I don't know. What?
I thought maybe you would have heard something.
Nobody there really knew why. They thought that it was going to lead to more women's tag title stuff from the main roster. I mean, Raquel and Dakota both said that in interviews. Raquel and the one that I did with her.
I think that Hunter needs to, unless Hunter's on board with it and likes it, I think Hunter needs to push for a match to unify them.
Yeah. Big Migs Gaming says, can we have more shows with Sean and Denise? They have great chemistry. They are the best. Nia and Charlotte could learn from them. Maybe down the line, if
Nia and Charlotte could learn. Cute.
Maybe down the line, me and Denise will figure out like a weekday show to do. I mean, that's a possibility. With my travel schedule, it's getting hard. But then again, it seems like everywhere I travel, Denise is also traveling. So maybe it wouldn't be. Matt says, I missed last night, and now Mei Ying is wrestling next week. Yeah, I'm very excited to see how that ends up. Alicia Ellis says, any news on Asuka's sling? I'm working on it.
Saw that. Looked like there might have been a cast under there, too.
Yeah. Matt says, does Io not want to go to the main roster? I don't know about that, but we did report that Io was fine this week. We've got Shad Manhuda saying, thoughts on Sefa Fatu signing to NXT, Gable Brothers 2. It was Bobby Stevenson that technically signed. I don't think Gable has been announced yet, but Sefa Fatu is one of those that it was like, duh, of course they're going to sign him.
You know what? This is on my list.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about Bobby Stevenson because I have a theory.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about this. So I'm going to give you an NHL reference, Sean. You'll like a nice NHL reference.
Okay.
There's a defenseman who was highly sought after in the NHL named Seth Jones. He was a unrestricted free agent, top pair defenseman, stud defenseman, highly sought after. Seth Jones has a younger brother by the name of Caleb Jones, who is not as good of a defenseman. We're like a third pair defenseman. The Chicago Blackhawks, who wanted to try to sign Seth Jones as an unrestricted free agent, what do you think the Chicago Blackhawks did?
I don't know what they do.
They traded for Caleb Jones first. Okay. So they traded for Seth Jones' brother. After they traded for Seth Jones' brother, who do you think signed Seth Jones as an unrestricted free agent?
Oh, really?
The Chicago Blackhawks did. When I saw that Bobby Stevenson got recruited to the PC, I immediately thought they did that to get Gable. And I'm not going to discredit Bobby's talent because I'm sure he's talented, but we know that Gable's getting a lot of attention, and the UFC is courting him, and WWE's courting him, and everybody's courting him. I saw that, and given the timing, he just won the gold medal.
Yeah.
Given the timing, I thought they did that to get them one step closer to Gable Stevenson. That's just my opinion. I feel like that's why they did it. And then I also wanted to mention some of the other trainees. You just mentioned Joseph Fatu, younger brother of Jimmy and Jay. He's going to get fast tracked. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Given that lineage, unless he's terrible in the ring. He's going to get fast tracked. Then you've got Ben Buchanan, which is very interesting. The son of Bull Buchanan, former WWE Tag Team Champion. And then how about this reference? So Joshua Dawkins, he's a Devon Dudley trainee, and he's the nephew of NBA legend Daryl Dawkins. Daryl Dawkins has a WWE past Sean Ross Sapp.
Yeah, I know. It was,
appeared in the Battle Royal at WrestleMania 2.
Man.
So, very interesting, but I question if Bobby Stevenson, part of that was done politically to get Gable there, but I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I would think so. Jeff L says, happy belated birthday, SRS. Continue being great. Thank you so much. We've got a lot of people talking about Nia and Charlotte. We'll get to that. But
Yep.
Zeke says, thank you, Sean and Jimmy, for streaming, making Wednesdays breeze by faster. Sean, have you seen Heels? It's an amazing show. I'm hooked. I'm actually planning on watching them all together.
I haven't seen any yet as well. Yeah, I haven't seen it
Van
yet.
Twinblade says, I'm once again asking you to talk about 2D Lynn. Did you see any of 2D Lynn on NWA Empower?
No, I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, aside from a few clips. Otherwise, I haven't had a chance to see it yet.
She's going to get a lot of bookings. She's going to get an awful lot of bookings. She looked great. I think she should have won the Battle Royal, but Chelsea Green ended up winning it, which fine. That's fine. I mean, and they probably paid her a lot more too. So, but I like that. Troy says, with the Delta variant on the rise, do you think we could see a return to the Thunderdome? Nope. I'd be shocked. I think very much them announcing their live event schedule through the end of the year was them saying, we're not doing that.
Yeah, I think they'll just adhere to whatever every state's vaccine mandate is. And I think they'll leave it at that.
And then Matt J. Hendricks says, has AEW confirmed All Out's main event? No, they haven't. They have not at all. And
so it's not Kenny Christian? That's not the main event?
They haven't confirmed it, Jimmy. I don't know.
Okay.
Bezos says, I'm not convinced he's not the long lost triplet of Jimmy and Jay. It's all Jay in that face. Well, I mean, they're brothers. So
yeah.
Matt says, today's the 4-year anniversary of All In. Crazy to think it's been 4 years. It's been 3 years, but yeah, it would have been crazier to think it was been 4 years, but it's been 3, Matt. But
hell, it's been 5 for us, Sean.
Yeah, I know. Can you believe it?
Yeah. All right, we good on Super Chats?
Yeah.
All right, let's get to Nia Jax. I know people want to talk about this. So I'm watching Raw on Monday night, Sean. And I'm not going to lie to you. I missed the spot or I missed the sequence because I guess I just was distracted. Then I saw on social media, people were posting the clips of it. So I went back, I rewound it. I went back and watched it. And I guess I'll turn it to you in case you've got anything new on it. It's very clear to me. It was when she lost her on the back suplex. And Charlotte was probably pissed. She almost fell on the back of her neck, probably pissed, probably picked the wrong person to want to, slap around. But talk about the latest you've heard about that. That was very clearly a little shoot segment. And even the finish when it was kind of like a power bomb that Nia did, she didn't grab her. Did you see it? Where she didn't really grab Charlotte well on the power bomb, and Charlotte almost had to, kind of hang on to her.
The last one? Well, I mean, she had been doing that one-armed power bomb for a while.
It looked bad.
It did look bad. Her head bounced off. And I mean, I haven't heard much more than what's out there right now. I mean, people are, I don't know if they're kind of protecting it or what, but we saw what happened. Things were rough. It didn't work out. We've got Ken Shiro saying, I can't believe I saw people, including wrestlers, trying to defend Nia by bringing up Kobashi and Hansen as if the issue is with Nia is working stiff. That isn't the issue. It's hurting people.
Yes, unsafe.
It's hurting people.
Yes.
When, I mean, this ain't Kobashi. This is not that. This is not early 90s New Japan or early 90s All Japan. That's not what it is. And Andrew says, was Bully's theory of Nia stiffing Rhea a catalyst? I don't know. I didn't hear that. I didn't see that. I'm not familiar with that. Unfortunately,
stiffing Rhea.
I don't know. You're gonna have to expand on that, Andrew. But I don't know.
I mean, I look at it like this. I think it's fair to say now that Nia has a reputation of being sloppy and unsafe in the ring. You can look at the string of girls that she's had issues with. And of course, the two that people think about the most is Becky Lynch breaking her nose, Kairi Sane almost breaking her neck, throwing her into the ropes, throwing her into the stairs, all the shit that she did with Kairi Sane. Nia is unsafe. And maybe it's because she doesn't strive to get better. Maybe she's just lazy in the ring, whatever it is, but she has this reputation of being unsafe. The way that Charlotte reacted, it almost came off like Charlotte was like, enough of this shit, the way that she reacted. And Charlotte's your biggest female star, arguably. And you don't want to put her in there with somebody unsafe. What is it going to take for Vince McMahon to kind of open his eyes, because it's very clear that he favors Nia Jax. He always has. He's always protected her. He's always made her look stronger than everybody else on the women's roster. Nia Jax, by her own admission in interviews, has said that Vince McMahon told her that she is the Andre the Giant of the women's division. And anybody that might not be an old school fan, that is the greatest compliment that Vince McMahon could give, because he loved Andre the Giant, and Andre the Giant was a special attraction for a long, long time. So that's a major vote of confidence coming out of Vince McMahon. And then there's the obvious nepotism issue, because she's the Rock's
big concern. A lot of people always bring that up.
Yeah, she's The Rock's cousin. The Rock, everybody's heard the story. She went to WrestleMania with The Rock's mom. I think it was Rock Cena. Nia Jax said, I think I can do that. Went to The Rock, boom, she got fast-tracked right through the PC, because she was The Rock's cousin. That's what happened. And so the question is, what is it going to take for Vince to open his eyes and recognize, when they did the thing where they mandated PC training, remember that?
Yep.
What's it going to take for him to recognize, maybe I need to get her back there, because what if she breaks one of these girls' necks, or severely injures somebody because she's sloppy, she's unsafe in the ring? What's it going to take for him to recognize it? He puts her over everybody, Sean. She's been protected always in WWE. I mean,
she had gotten pinned a couple of times this year, but other than that, it's very obvious. Like, we see Shayna getting pinned and everybody's like, nah. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. What's it going to take, do you think?
If it hasn't happened by now, I don't know what could possibly do it. I mean, I don't see Nia doing like a nails situation.
Yeah.
Or some shit and getting fired.
Yeah.
She's more professional than that. It's
I'm not saying, and
not safe.
And I'm not saying I want her fired. I don't want her
I
fired.
don't either. I just want her to be safe.
Yeah.
I think she can be very valuable.
Yeah.
And I thought that her being in a tag team was a really good idea, but man, I'm not going to comment on somebody's shape, guys. Don't send super chats about that. But somebody's saying Nia doesn't care. Alicia says, when Nia rammed Rhea, her neck was awkward in the ropes, kind of like whiplash. I sent to you on Twitter. Okay, I did see that. Yeah, I did. It just happens. Joel Pearl says, Bully said Nia running Rhea into the ropes during the match was what led to Charlotte sticking up for Rhea in their match. I'm trying to find out. I mean, like, Bully Ray has some spectacular inference and has been around the business and has potatoed people and has been potatoed and all that stuff. So I would generally trust his instincts on that. So I'm not going to doubt that. Plus, he might have talked to somebody, but I'm still trying to talk to people. And usually, I don't want to say usually, but sometimes it takes a couple days. And
it did look like, and obviously, we can't hear what they were saying to each other in there, but it did look like things were okay until the back suplex. And after the back suplex, when she kind of lost her grasp on her, and Nia didn't go down on it either. It was just Charlotte kind of, getting dumped. It was after that Charlotte got up and started slapping her. So it looked like the back suplex was the catalyst, but you never know. Maybe Charlotte already went in there with a chip on her shoulder because of the Rhea Ripley thing. And then when that happened, that put her over the top. Who knows? Like you said, I guess you gotta find that out. But it's and Charlotte is the cash cow, like, compared to Nia Jax. Let's be honest. Charlotte versus Nia Jax in terms of box office, it's not close. And so Vince McMahon's you got to be smart with these things. What if that had to been Becky Lynch, who just came back, and then, heaven forbid she gets injured on a sloppy spot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he's got to be smarter than that. He can't allow this stuff. She's been doing this for a long enough time that these things shouldn't be happening anymore.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, there's no excuse for that anymore. There's no excuse for that. There wasn't to begin with, but there definitely isn't. Basie says the list is really crazy. Becky, Bayley, Charlotte, Ember, Alexa, Mandy, Kyrie a couple of times. Yeah. I remember two vividly. One was the powerbomb in the corner where she missed the corner, hit her neck on the ropes. And the other was when she whipped her into the stairs and busted up her face. Yeah. More Those content. Are the 2 times. California or Canada says, Jimmy said, I'm watching Raw on Monday night. Sean. My name is Sean. Why? Watch it live instead of just listening to Sean and Denise like the rest of us? Why?
So
for me, you ever watch our show?
Yeah. So normally on Monday nights I will put it on. So my tradition has always been to watch Raw on Mondays going back 20 some years. So it's just tradition. But for what I've been doing ever since I had children, as I've told you before, is now I tape it starting at 8 because I'm just busy with the nighttime routine. I usually started about an hour in, much like you had been doing, and then I'm able to kind of get through commercials and catch up. But I usually will put on the show, and then sometimes I'll text Sean. I'd be like, hey, don't forget to say this. Don't forget to promote this. Don't forget to do this. And then most of the time he'll do it. So I catch a show. You guys have great chemistry. I love that Denise asked for a raise the other day. That was cute.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was good.
Man. Mr. I don't know how to pronounce that, says, any news on what's next for Alexa? It seems like our mattress Charlotte has been given to Nia now. That was very weird. They like completely retconned so much stuff that they did on the prior week's Raw.
This was actually the next thing on my list that I was going to ask you about. So last week, they set up Bobby Lashley, Sheamus. They set up John Morrison, The Miz, and they started a program with Charlotte and Alexa. This week, none of those things happened. Now, John Morrison did do one promo prior to the match with Omos where he made reference to, The Miz is in Hollywood or something. He made reference to why Miz wasn't there. But otherwise, Lashley and Sheamus, unless I missed it, they didn't reference the match not happening. Charlotte, Alexa, there was nothing. They just had Charlotte in there with Nia Jax. I was going to ask you, why was all forgotten? What happened? What made them decide to pivot? I guess as of yet, nothing's come out about that.
On Monday?
Yeah.
Just Vince. Vince didn't like what was set up and what was scheduled. I've got a report I'm working on hopefully for tomorrow, but it was not a good scene. It was not a great scene at all. None of the matches they had scheduled actually happened. A bunch of the programs they had scheduled did not happen.
Right.
And it's like, man, you oversee this show every week. Like, what's the big deal? Like,
yep. And people actually were genuinely interested in Lashley Sheamus. They were. Yeah. And it's like, I love RK Bro. And, AJ Styles and Omos, I feel like they've lost some polish a little bit. But I love RK Bro. How many times do I have to watch them in some combination against AJ and Omos? How many weeks do we have to watch it? And that opening promo, Sean, the opening segment, what a train wreck that opening segment was. Throwing what the hell was Randy Orton even? How did it even make sense for him to even come out? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the whole thing was very convoluted. It's very strange. I am happy that they pivoted apparently from Charlotte and Alexa because I didn't want to see Charlotte getting hypnotized and shit. But I also don't want to see her get her neck broken by Nia Jax. So I hope that doesn't carry on. I guess they're going to have to see.
Yeah. I baffled by how that that was handled. Matt says, got the pod fired up at my hotel in Chicago. So hyped up for this weekend. Any news on Full Gear getting moved because of UFC? Stay tuned. I know it was pulled from some of the ticketing stuffs. Mate says, what are your chances of Adam Cole signing somewhere like 60-40 AEW or 60-40 WWE? I would say 60-40 leaving WWE. I just don't want to say where because you never know.
Yep.
Destiny FOMO, who is soon going to be a sponsor, check her out, twitter.com/Destiny FOMO, says AEW at Arthur Ashe this month, and I finally get to meet SRS. Wrestling is exciting again. I'm saving wrestling, Jimmy.
Is that why she's saying wrestling is exciting again? Because she's meeting you?
Well, yeah. Why else?
Man. People are putting you over, Sean Ross Sapp.
Matt J. Hendricks says, it sounds like WWE dropped the Alexa Charlotte feud because WWE made zero mention of last week's segment with Bliss. It was very weird that they just completely ignored it. And yeah, I mean, it was like, why just make up an excuse.
One little thing that irritated me, Sean, because sometimes the details piss me off. So there's one little thing that irritated me. So they got a shot of Charlotte in her gear. They do the shot where she's walking and the camera's following her. Like a front shot. So they did a thing, I think it was before a commercial break, where Charlotte's walking in her gear, which means like she's getting ready for a match, right? Then when I believe Nia was either on her way out to the ring or was right before the match was going to start, they cut to the locker room and Charlotte was lacing up her boot. And little things like that drive me fucking crazy. Am I supposed to believe that she was wearing flip-flops when they had her in her gear with the camera like this? Things like that irritate me. Might mean nothing to anybody else, but stuff like that irritates me.
Yeah, it completely. And they constantly do it. They
all the
constantly do it.
Yeah. All the time.
Josh B17 says, what match do you think steals the show at All Out? Pac versus Andrade is getting slept on, in my opinion. I think that's because of the lack of stakes, Jimmy. I think that's why. I think if this had maybe even the AAA title, it would be happening.
I think a lot of people are going to say Bucks Lucha Bros. I believe he's going to steal Cage. So I think a lot of people are going to say Bucks Lucha Bros. But I've seen it so many damn times that I'm not interested at all.
Yeah.
in Bucks and Lucha Bros. I got to be honest, whether it's a good match or not, I got to see what Punk's got. I want to see his physical condition. I just want to see what Punk's got. That to me is the most interesting thing of the show, is what's Punk got in him after 7.5 years or whatever it's been.
Yep. Me too. Yeah. That's the, I mean, I'm like, when I think about that, I'm like, fuck, what if this goes awry? What if this goes terrible? You know?
Let me ask you this question. So I don't know Darby Allin as well as you do in terms of his background and stuff. Is he capable of having to like kind of carry Punk or call the match if required? And I'm not suggesting that's going to be necessary because Punk's not an idiot. But is Darby Allin capable of covering for him if required, do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so?
He can bump his ass off and make it up.
Okay. Because he ain't Kenny Omega, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
All Out is 80% rematches, Matt J. Hendricks said. Not like from last week, it's not. I mean, Pac and Andrade had matches in WWE, maybe. Miro versus Eddie Kingston isn't a rematch. CM Punk versus Darby Allin isn't a rematch. Baker and Statlander maybe had a match last year. Eddie Kingston or Young Bucks and Lucha Brothers haven't had a match in a couple years. Paul White and QT have never had a match. Moxley and Kojima have never had a match. The Casino Battle Royal isn't a rematch.
Basically, a Jericho match and Christian match, like in terms of recent.
Yeah,
those are the main two.
Troy says, will Triple H still be involved in the creative process of NXT after the relaunch? If so, I'm very optimistic of the future. I don't know. He's supposed to be tasked with heading a lot of this revamp up. I just don't know what that means. And that came from Nick Khan. That's not coming from me. Mm-hmm. He said Triple H is going to be integral in it.
I mean, he already is. What's different?
Yeah.
What's changed? So this is on my list too. Talk about NXT. So we got the new logo, not like in the color scheme. It kind of looks like I gave my 4-year-old a bunch of paint and said, go. That's what the color scheme looks like. But otherwise, the logo itself, like the NXT, like it's pretty clean. Like it looks pretty good. But I was going to ask you if you've heard any more about this supposed revamp. I know that you had reported that the company was pretty tight-lipped about it. I believe it was this week. Ciampa won a tag match because they're saying they're getting away from the indie guys or whatnot. Nick Khan said that, and he actually used that term, or indie talent or whatever he said. But so I was going to ask if you've heard anything about the supposed new revamp that's on the horizon. I guess
NXT?
Nothing. Yeah, from NXT.
Well, the top talent isn't even being told. Tommaso Ciampa told me that on the air. I talked to other top talent that they don't know. Now, I don't want this to get ran with as a headline, but somebody said they'd torn apart the CWC.
Yes.
But it's a very small, like it's deceptively small, that place. And I know the ring area had been one. I loved the new colors. I thought that looked great. I mean, you see me in our chat constantly. I'm like, let's update our colors. Let's change this. A good, fresh, different look is always helpful.
I mean, you do have Nasty Boy shoes, so
I do have Nasty Boy shoes. They're really great, too.
Yeah. I don't know. I
Wait, Jimmy, did you see the gift I got today?
Today? People are still giving you gifts every damn day?
Jimmy, our friend Greg Nelson. You're going to hate this.
Sean Ross Sapp is spoiled, Camillo. He's spoiled.
Jimmy.
Is that a Sean Ross Sapp action figure?
It sure as hell
Take
is.
the glasses off. Can you zoom it in on the camera? That looks like a Sean Ross Sapp action figure. Who made that?
Greg Nelson. He is at glow_figure on, on Instagram. Isn't that unreal? It's got an FTF shirt.
I saw that.
Oh my god.
So he actually physically made that?
Yes.
Really?
Well, I mean, like the face, I'm sure.
Yeah.
The pieces go together. Unreal. What a guy.
I would like to know. So I know about the customization world. So I'm curious. Did he mold that? A lot of guys are doing 3D printing now,
did find a way to tell us?
Well, the other thing they're doing is they're just taking an existing one and then they're just adding whatever it is, silicone or resin or something to it. So I'd like to know if he used an existing head or if he actually molded a Sean Ross Sapp head. I would love to know that.
I'll find out.
Greg Nelson, if you see this, could be a retail opportunity. So I want to know if you might have molded a Sean Ross Sapp head.
I wonder. I mean, I've not been scanned, Jimmy, so I don't know.
If you did, we'll talk. Could be a retail opportunity.
Oh man,
Could be Sean Ross Sapp's all over the damn place.
Sounds terrible. I can't wait for some of those fucking stalker dorks on Twitter to buy like 6 of them and be like, ha ha ha, I'm going to destroy it with a hammer. We got him so good by spending $120 on these figures.
Do you remember that was like the I hate John Cena shirts? People didn't, figure out who got the commission on that. Remember that back in the day?
No.
Yeah. So they used to make a t-shirt. WWE used to make a t-shirt. It basically said, I hate John Cena. And the Cena, the Cena haters would be wearing them, thinking that they're funny or that they're hot shit, because they didn't figure out Cena gets the commission on that shirt. So they just thought about it. Have you ever seen the LJN commercial where Randy Macho Man Savage opens up his robe and he's got nothing but Randy Savage figures inside of it?
That sounds. How did that get cleared, Jimmy? He had nothing but those inside of it.
You know what I'm talking about,
Jimmy,
Sean.
Dark Side of the Ring. Oh no!
Is this leading to a BlueChew segue?
Macho Man hanging there. Oh boy, if you want to open up your robe and reveal something, check out BlueChew.com and use that code Fightful. Maybe you're all out and you're looking to get all in. You're looking to go double or nothing, or maybe double or nothing. BlueChew.com and the code Fightful has you covered, and you get your first shipment free. That's how you know they know that you're going to love it. It's got the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, so you know it works, but no more awkward conversations. Because there's one thing I hate, it's being awkward. Oh, you don't have to wait in line at the pharmacy. It's prescribed online. You work with their online physicians. It ships straight to your door in the good old US of A. Wow, my microphone dropped. And if you don't want to have a mic drop, if you want that microphone on a stand and want somebody speaking into it confidently, Blue Chew has you covered. BlueChew.com, code Fightful, hot diggity dog.
So anyway,
or hot diggity dong.
So anyway, I had a vision of we could do a commercial,
and
we have a wrestler with a robe on, and he will be wearing something under the robe, but we'll have a wrestler with a robe on, and when he like opens it like that, there's Sean Ross Sapp action figures hanging all over the inside of that robe.
Terrible. But look, everybody is very happy with that. I'm very happy. Matt says, it was mentioned by Calix last night. What are the odds of NXT goes live again? The things we've seen become null and void as this month's all taped. I think a lot of what we're seeing isn't even being set up, and it's being set up like the episode before. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for this to be retconned. Oh, by the way, guys, every Tuesday now, we've got Kate Hensler on Sour Graps with Alex Pawlowski, the free edition, reviewing NXT. So if you like Kate or just loathe Alex, this is great news for you guys. Because quite frankly, we know there's lots of them. Fortunately, Alex knows how to use the mute button a little bit better than I do on Twitter, not on the show. But I mean, it's given it a fresh paint of coat, as Conrad and Bruce say. But we've got Roman the Hunted saying, do you know if Io Shirai's contract is up soon? She's been there for 3 years. If we know, you can go to FightfulWrestling.com. We have a resources section. It is updated every day. It's got TV ratings, rosters, injury reports, and what contracts we know of. One of those contracts, Jimmy, was that of Paige, who said on a Twitch stream, hey, by the way, I know PW Insider. Well, she didn't say that, but I'm saying it. I know PW Insider reported my contract through 2023. It's up June 2022. And then she after we had ran that story, she's like, P.S. I'm training for a return. Now, I know it's dangerous, Jimmy, and I know it's on your list, but when you see Christian, you see Edge, you see Daniel Bryan, you see all this. Samoa Joe took over a year off. Why not try?
Yeah, I mean that's fair. They're different injuries. I look at them in different ways. So it's like Christian, I believe, was a concussion too. Yeah.
Yes.
And obviously we know that Bryan was. Neck, what she had 2 serious neck injuries. I don't know about, maybe you know about what kind of procedures she's had. Edge, obviously underwent a lot of procedures. I don't know what all she's done. Yeah. It is very dangerous, but obviously any competent doctor is going to have to clear her first. And I think that so long as any competent doctor clears her, then she would be, I guess, as ready to go as anybody else would. I just hope, because obviously, you know, she was a young girl when she had to retire, and then she saw, especially now we're seeing this resurgence in the world of wrestling, thanks to AEW, quite frankly. And so she's probably seeing that. It's probably kind of gotten her excited again. And, you know, even if she chose to stay in WWE, if she were to get cleared to wrestle, there's a lot of girls in WWE now she never got to work with before.
Yeah.
So she's probably excited to see that, and she probably wants to be involved with all that. But I really hope that she takes care of herself. I hope that she gets proper clearance and that she's safe in there, because remember when she took that shot from Sasha, even though it was accidental, you saw what happened. One kick. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, well, that was a rough one too. It was to the back.
Yeah. But, you know, I'd like to know, you know, once you're cleared and ready to go again, could one, and you're right, it was a stiff shot, but could one stiff shot like that do it again? And could it be a worse this time? So stuff like that I'd want to know. But otherwise, how old is Paige? She's still really young. Is she even 30 yet?
She's like 28, I think.
Still.
Yeah.
I can understand. I can understand her perspective.
Still time to get in your super chats, guys. After this, we will be over on FightfulSelect.com. It's the first of the month, so resubscribe if you've canceled like a little bitch, or if your credit card ran out. If you don't have a credit card, steal your mother's. That's okay too. Nerd Guru
or your father's.
We get the money either way. Yeah. Nerd Guru says Paige versus Becky Lynch. This is main event money. I mean, it could be. I think it could be. Chris says that Kate and Alex have great chemistry. I think Kate would have good chemistry with everybody. A lot.
Yeah, I put Kate over. I think the first night that I saw her on whatever podcast it was, I texted Sean and I said, "You got a winner with this one." Yeah. Kate's really good.
Really good at scouting talent.
I am too, Sean.
Andrew says, is there a prototype of female Vince once on NXT, or are they all free to push anybody? Charlotte Flair is the prototype. A famous father, incredible genetics, and somebody that can take to it like a fish.
Yep.
Fish in water, fish to
Trish
water.
Stratus, that type. I feel like for a while, Mandy Rose, he was looking at her like that type, and maybe they fell out of favor for whatever reason. CJ Perry would have been that type if they both didn't fuck it up, Lana and Vince.
Yeah.
But typically, you kind of know what he's always like. Sable.
Yeah.
That's always what he's kind of been into.
Matt asked thoughts on New Japan airing Stardom matches. Hopefully the start of something bigger. Anthony says, I think MJF will go over Jericho. He should, Jimmy. I've said this before. This needs to be MJF's I beat Rock and Steve Austin in the same night. It needs that should be that for him. I believe he will. I hope so.
There's two reasons I believe he will, and it makes me think back. I know I'm an old school guy. It makes me think back to Randy Savage, Ultimate Warrior, when it was Savage's retirement match. The first reason is, and we talked about this with Punk's return, Tony Khan, whether you love him or hate him, he's aware. Like he's aware, and he's aware what people think. He knew, okay, people know Punk's going to be on Rampage. Let's just do it at 10:01 because they know he's there. He knows that everybody thinks Jericho's career is on the line. Jericho's winning.
Yeah.
Khan knows that this is what people are thinking. Jericho's got the Rampage commentary gig. How easy would it be to have him lose the retirement match? They did this with Randy Savage back in the day. Loses the retirement match, goes to commentary, gets goaded by a talent, finally is able to get clearance to basically come into retirement because he got goaded by the talent, and then he's back in the ring. That's exactly the way to do it.
Yeah.
Because again, a lot of people are going to go in thinking Jericho's winning, and a lot of people aren't going to be happy if Jericho beats MJF because MJF's on a roll. Right.
I would love if they added like the line, the only person that can get allow him out of retirement is MJF type of thing.
Right.
And MJF is in some trouble down the line. And he's like, oh, well, I'm just going to let Jericho out of retirement under the condition that he handles this for me. Like,
right.
I think there's a lot of manipulative ways that they can do.
There's a lot they can do. Yeah. There's a lot.
I mean, I think they kind of did that with Vince and Steve Austin back in the day, where Vince couldn't own the company anymore unless Steve Austin approved it or something. It was
even
wild.
Savage. So when Savage had their retirement match and went on commentary, the storyline was he wanted to come out of retirement, I believe, for Jake Roberts. So he wanted to come out of retirement to battle Jake Roberts, and he had to get approval from, might have been like Gorilla Monsoon or whatever. It wasn't just a thing where I lost this match, I retired, but now fuck it, I'm back in the ring. They did a storyline where he had to get a clearance or whatever. That's all they got to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's a scripted pro wrestling show.
It is.
And
At least
I know a
they
lot
made
of
an
people,
effort,
I know
you
some
know?
people will just be difficult and be like, going back in a stipulation. It's a fake show. Who cares?
And again, if they make it make sense in storyline,
Yes.
then it's okay.
Give
You
me a
know?
reason.
Yes.
Alicia Ellis says, how do you think Roman Finn will go and Brock? I'm shocked they didn't hold off on this until Madison Square Garden, Jimmy. I'm
Roman
shocked.
Finn?
Yeah. I think it'll be a great match. I bet it'll be an awesome match.
I mean, because it's Vince, maybe they're going to wrestle 8 times in a row, and so you'll still get to see it at MSG.
Oh, boy.
So no, I think it'll be good. And they got the Street Profits out there now, so now the odds are evened a little bit. But nobody believes that Roman Reigns is going to drop the title to Finn Balor. But I'm sure it'll be a fun matchup. I did want to ask you about Brock. How's our time? Do we still have time? Yeah, I want to ask you about.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about Brock.
Well, hold on. Sean Gray says, any truth to Vince and Bruce producing NXT? I have not heard that. And JJ says, dumb Cody still can't go for the world title. I would love certain people to be able to pull that back to use that against somebody else.
I mean, essentially, the world champion could be like, you got your shot because I basically want to see you kick my ass kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or I want to see you beat me, or you can't beat me. You got your shot. That'd be the way to get him back in. But I want to ask you about Brock. So last week on this podcast, I asked you if Brock Lesnar's return to WWE was WWE's response to CM Punk's debut in AEW. And last week you told me that you believe that there was some kind of correlation. Now there have been reports that Fox pressured WWE, and I know you're working on a story about the network stuff.
Yes, I am.
There are reports that Fox pressured WWE, which led to Brock's return. I believe it was Dave Meltzer that reported that he even got a better deal. Brock even got a better deal because of the timing, and he was able to take that to his advantage. You reported the terms of the deal. What all can you tell us about Brock's return and how much of that was WWE getting pressured or WWE feeling like we got to respond to the CM Punk return?
I think a lot of it was getting pressured. I think a lot of it was things with Fox weren't smooth before that. And buddy, there's so many variables. So many variables to this, including other companies as well. There's a whole lot to it, just so much to it. And I'm trying to put it all together for a report that I'm hoping's out by next week. Probably going to be one of our top reports next week, but it's been repaired a bit.
Because of Brock and Becky?
And Cena, yeah.
But Cena's gone again, but yeah, Cena. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. And I think you reported 1.5 years, 8 matches a year was the belief?
At least 8 matches is what I was told.
Okay, and do you still think Saudi's going to be the first one?
Yeah, I think so. I think that would make sense. I mean, they're getting paid a lot of money, so you might as well do that, and they're setting it up already. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That's going to be very interesting. Now, over on the AEW side, there are reports that TNT is ecstatic, but you want to talk about just a difference. And part of the issue again is Fox is paying like $250 million a year. USA is paying $265 a year. Certain expectations come with that. TNT is paying a lot less than $250 a year for AEW. And so if you're TNT, they've been averaging over $1 million a week now on Wednesdays. Rampage, I don't think anybody expects that they're going to do $1 million every Friday at 10 o'clock, but they've been doing over 700 even without Punk now. They've been doing over 700. They've been number 1 in their time slot on cable. Pretty good. And so what are you hearing about the TNT relationship? And what do you think about, what do they got? A couple years left on this current contract. What's your expectation? Do you think that they're just going to probably stick with TNT long term?
I would think so. Yeah, I would think so. I mean, it seems to be a good relationship. They are going to get a massive increase the next time around.
Yes.
They probably should have gotten even more than they got now, but also TNT's got to feel pretty good. TNT's, Warner, it's not going to be TNT for much longer because they're moving to TBS. Warner Media at least once a week is sending the media emails like, hey, look how great this show is doing.
Yeah.
Like that's not something they do for every show, Jimmy.
Yeah. And how we've talked about how Vince McMahon's, goal was for WWE to be at the top of the marquee, not talent, WWE. And Dana White's goal was for UFC to be at the top of the marquee. When you look at some of the recent numbers, the debut of Punk on Rampage, they had 1.3 million viewers on TNT. Then the next week they did, I think it was 770 or 740. Still a good number for 10 o'clock on a Friday night, but not 1.3 like they did for Punk. Becky Lynch returned. SmackDown last week did 2.25 million viewers on Fox with Becky Lynch's return. It goes to show that it's not the company on the marquee that draws the number. It's the talent on the marquee that draws the number. Mm-hmm. And that again goes to show how WWE cutting loose all these people left, right, and center is, you know, is just short-sighted thinking, you know?
Yep. Well, I'll tell you what, the Rampage and Dynamite that we saw last week didn't instill a bunch of confidence in that depth either. It was very disposable. It was very like, oh man, I hope they step this up, because you can't just rely on Punk forever. Mm-hmm. But this things are getting more back to normal. Wrestling's hot for the moment. It's just they got to ride the wave and make it interesting. We got a few more super chats to wrap us up. Kieran George says, one of your thoughts on Riddle's comments about Roman and would he possibly have heat for it? I think it's smart. I think it's the smartest possible thing. And I think Roman Reigns is smart enough, beyond smart enough, to realize I see what he's doing.
Yeah,
he should do it.
Yeah.
William says, speaking of Cody, has there been any clarification on him quietly leaving the Elite last year? I'm aware of the EVP divide rumor. That's pretty much what it is. He confirmed as much after denying it. He confirmed as much in his promo. So there you go.
You know, when they first, what was one of the criticisms I had when AEW started? One of my biggest criticisms was that they had active talent as EVPs. I thought it was an awful decision. I hated that active talent, Jericho included. I hated that active talent was talking about the contracts of other people. Hated it because that should not be what they're doing. It definitely, when you look at the landscape now, it's clear who's in charge now. Not that it wasn't then, but it's very clear now. And when do you ever see the Bucks or Kenny or even Cody talk about contracts, talk about, you know, any business related stuff? Not a lot, especially the Bucks and Kenny. Never.
Yep.
So it's, and I don't know if they've quietly yanked the EVP title or whatever, but it's very clear that there's been a pivot and that Tony Khan has recognized, okay, I got to be the man. And this EVP thing, it was just a really poor decision.
Yep.
And so that was a very smart pivot. And same with Cody. I don't know if he's still considered an EVP. I'd pull it from him too, if he is.
I don't know. We've got Throwback saying WWE needs to listen to their universe, because eventually fans will tune out if there are repetitive stories. AEW has me interested. Raw isn't. People already are tuning out. That's just already the situation that we're in. Well, Jimmy, anything else before we wrap up?
No, you know what? The list goes on, Sean. Today, depending on how active the chat is, let's just take live questions.
Okay.
On the list goes on.
Head over there, guys. Open up the YouTube chat and submit some questions. And I got a Q&A show that's going up on Fightful Select tomorrow. So lots of stuff. We got a media call with Tony Khan tomorrow. Stay tuned, guys. I'm going to have scoops on Fightful Select all weekend. Kate Hensler says, leave a thumbs up on your way out. Till next time, guys. We're out.